G'day guys, Josh here. I gotta tell you right now, I listened to the Campfire chat yesterday, my time, and I completely forgot to upload the reaction video, and then the reaction video had no sound, which made it really bad. But anyway, let's get to the point, okay? Basically, a quick summary of the Campfire chat was this, okay? First thing they're gonna do is they nerf Nightmare Dungeons. They felt that Nightmare Dungeons were more of the end game content, not the actual progression content was meant to be. So they're gonna nerf the Nightmare Dungeons health and damage, and they're also gonna increase mob density as well. So you can just basically AoE farm, you get more experience, and stuff like that as well. That's what they wanted to do. Next up is Helltides. They're going to increase mob density as well to reflect the new prices of the mysterious like that being 250. So they're going to change that as well. They felt that it was really hard to get cinders even after the nerf. But this one's going to make it that cinders are basically going to drop everywhere, and 250 is going to be pretty easy to get. Now they're also going to add one more stash tab, and they're going to make Elixirs stack up to 99. That's another change as well. There's been various other changes as well. They said the gem change is going to come in Season 2. And they didn't say anything about Malignant Heart stacking, but I feel like that could come out as well. They actually did announce that 70% or 80% or something like that was a high percentage of people. Their stash tabs are mainly filled with aspects. So that was out there as well. Actually a bit surprised by that because one was actually filled with gear. But 70% to 80%, I guess, is a high number for it, for the stash tabs to be added, and for I think aspects should potentially be stackable as well, depending on the quality, of course. Now, they won't do another patch 1.1 again. They said previously they're going to probably launch the notes 2 to 3 weeks in advance, so everyone can really digest it and, basically ask questions before launching that final build. 1.1.1 is going to contain, the next patch afterwards, going to contain a Sorcerer Rework, but that won't be for a few weeks. Most likely, I think Sorcerer is going to get more armor or anything like that put into their builds, given that's a really good defensive stat. And I feel like it's going to get taken away when Season 2 comes around and they get their the Resistance rework, where Resistance is actually a useful stat. Now, Season 2 is still the goal, as I said before, so working out resistances. They also did talk about bugs in general, because mainly in reference to they have the Ancients build, with Barbarians getting nerfed into the ground, with the bug being fixed there. They did say they will keep bug builds in, as long as it doesn't break the game, but they'll change the bug builds after the season has ended. Hence, Hammer of Ancients was nerfed after the season has ended because it was just working effectively on a bug. They don't like those sort of builds where it needs to be bugged to work, so that's why I put that in there as well. They also did comment as well with Nightmare Dungeons, is that they didn't want it to be endgame content. They felt Uber Lilith was endgame content, and they didn't like the process that everyone was pigeonholed into certain builds and certain setups to complete the high levels of Nightmare Dungeons, so they're going to be drastically nerfed, as I said before. Now, with the stats reduction, they quickly commented on it as well that they wanted to make all stats roughly even, and then buff other stats to hopefully, build up alternate builds as well, which I did talk about this as well. I said they wanted to build up alternate builds because certain stats are very powerful. They talked about cooldown reduction in particular, where basically they said that cooldown reduction was so powerful that you could just basically spam abilities, not run out of resource or anything like that at all. And they said they didn't really want to have that. They wanted to have alternate ways to build your character. A lot of people in the PoE scene as well actually said this as well, that PoE seems to be a lot better than D4 because you can get more builds. You're not pigeonholed to any builds. So being able to expand your builds a lot further is a lot better for the game overall. As you mentioned, if you play PoE, you'll see how many builds there are and how many crazy and awesome builds there are. And you can understand why you want that variety of builds in Diablo 4 as well. Now, with the cooldown reduction nerf, they said it just basically became an uber stat. No other stats could really beat it. Once you get to that specific mark where your active abilities are active at all times, none of the other stats matter, pretty much. That's what the person said. That's what the associate game designer said. And yeah, at the end of the day, they basically said that Uber Lilith is the true endgame. Nightmare Dungeons of progression. And they did answer a bunch of questions as well, but I didn't feel it was too relevant. I think there was a lot of talk about Season 2 and Season 3 reworks as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The Cliff Notes, pretty much the main answers you got from this. They are well aware of sorcerers being super underpowered, and they're working on ways to fix it without, impacting the main game overall. But I've got to say, overall, I kind of expected, to be honest. I mean, anyone expecting them to roll back the patch is kind of crazy, to be honest. I mean, this sort of patch had to happen. Now, a lot of people can be like, no, it didn't. But there were Druid builds and a few other class builds where basically they couldn't be CC'd. They had damage coming out, of nowhere, basically a lot of damage and always, consistent damage. And I gotta say right now, it just made everyone have to go into those builds to be any sort of competitive, which was really disappointing. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it. Hope you guys have a good one. If you guys enjoyed the Cliff Notes, like, comment, subscribe.